wonder why people listen to music? Or why do you listen to music? Many behaviors humans get involved into have reasonable motives related to one's survival or procreation. However, if we think of the amount of time, energy, or money we spend on music, just think about us going to festivals in other countries or just listening to a particular artist or band. Few behaviors can match our investment in what seems like a less practical endeavor. For sure, music is one of the most popular leisure activities and accompanies us in all our major life events across our lifetime. In Romanian, we have a poem which includes the following verse: "I will not crush the crown of wonders in the world," and it can reflect an attitude of protection with regards to the mysteries of the world. And music is one of our wonders. And I have the same attitude and would not want, through the content of this course, to make it less mysterious. For sure, as we will soon see, due to the plethora of theories which psychologists developed in trying to explain why we listen to music, I think we are safe, for this knowledge will only highlight the complexity and beauty of music and what a gift it is for us humans to be able to experience it. The main question of this course will be why we listen to music. And more specifically, what are the main theories which try to offer possible answers to these questions? Also, in the reading material of this course, you will have the opportunity to read about the way music had different meanings for humans along our history. As we all know, music activities have been reported in ancient times. Throughout history, all kinds of scholars, from philosophers to psychologists, historians, priests, musicologists, and more recently neuroscientists, all proposed a very large number of theories with regards to the aim of musical activities. In psychology, as there are many domains, each with its different object of study, the motivations, the questions, and the results regarding musical functions are pretty diverse. For example, some studies ask questions related to the development of musical functions. Others were interested in their social function. Also, different populations were studied, though many empirical studies included convenience samples of students, for they are more easily approachable. Thomas Schaffer, a German psychologist, and his team published a very extensive review in which they enlisted many theories in the psychological research referring to the possible functions of music and further developed their own approach to answer this question. In the following moments, I will present you some of the main and most interesting theories included in their review. Firstly, we will take a look at the research in which the potential functions of music were discussed within the framework of a theoretical point of view. In this category, we can see theories which make explicit evolutionary functions, non-evolutionary approaches, for example, experimental aesthetics, in which the musical functions derive deductively from the main approach. Evolutionary approaches usually focus on the idea that behaviors which are still in our repertoire of action today must have helped humans whether to survive or to reproduce themselves. Theories in this area suggest the following ideas: that music is a marker of psychological fitness, as anyone who has the ability to make music should be strong and healthy. Also, another idea is that music is a means of social and emotional communication that helps us reinforce social bonds, resolve conflicts, which was then reflected in an increased effectiveness of group actions. Also, music could be a means to reduce stress, whether social or not, or to temper aggression in others. Another interesting theory is related to the ability of music in maintaining infant-mother attachment. One of the most interesting ideas suggested by theories in this area was the fact that music helps us when confronted with the idea of dying and our search for meaning. Thus, music could be a means to help us cope with our anxiety regarding our own mortality. Some neurophysiological studies which show that music-induced cells are associated with reduced activities in brain structures associated with anxiety could partially empirically support this idea. Another possible function found in this literature was the idea that of seeing music as a safe form of time passing, like sleeping behaviors in other predators. Apparently, this idea suggests that music developed as an entertaining way to pass time along waking hours. Non-evolutionary theories focused on the way music is used by people in everyday life. One research approach in this area is the uses and gratification approach, which describes the way we actively select media content in order to meet our needs or concerns. Among the functions of music enlisted by this approach are music as an entertainment, music as a means of identity formation, music as a means for sensation seeking or culture identification. If we think of the last two functions and any musical festival, we could find even intuitive evidence for these functions. Also, researchers in the domain of experimental aesthetics investigate the way people subjectively experience beauty. Another line of research described in this paper reviews many articles in which the proposed musical functions are not concerned to a specific theory, and usually these works focus on a single function of music. Some examples of specified music functions in these articles are the therapeutic function of music or the use of music to manage one's physiological arousal. Empirical investigations follow two directions, which include studies that are designed to observe the way music is used in daily lives, and studies which try to reduce a large number of functions to some basic dimensions. In these sections, studies usually pre-identify functions of music, which are further statistically processed, and different number of dimensions result. One of the largest surveys in this category, with more than 1,000 young participants in different countries, identifying 10 underlying dimensions regarding music function: emotion, friends, family, venting, background, dancing, focus, values, politics, and culture. Another study identified 8 distinct dimensions, which are identity, positive and negative mood engagement, diversion, reminiscing, arousal, surveillance, and social interactions. A study in which older participants were interviewed showed that 6 dimensions were enlisted: linking, life events, sharing and connecting, well-being, therapeutic benefits, escapism, and spirituality. Though the studies differ in their identified functions and subsequent dimensions, there are some categories which constantly appear. These are social functions of music, connecting with others; emotional function, music makes us feel some emotions; cognitive self-related functions, which can describe when we deliberately listen to music by paying attention to its specific structure; and physiological and arousal-related functions, music changes some of our physiological responses, and thus we can use it to regulate them. The results we presented here are from open-ended surveys. However, there are empirical studies which describe music functions, which follow a specific theoretical approach. One such study took into account music functions of adolescents and developed their proposed functions being guided by the developmental theories in this period. Thus, they proposed music functions which are related to the developmental issues adolescents face. Examples are music's impact in peer group integration or in identity development. These results would be very interesting to be discussed with adolescents to make them more aware of the music they listen to and its impact on their identity development. Following this extensive review, the authors summarized the functions identified in all studies and identified 129 items which describe music functions. Further, they gave the questionnaire to almost 834 people with age range from 8 to 85 years old. Then they statistically processed the data and further identified three main dimensions in which music functions were subsumed. The first one was named self-awareness and included several effects of music on person. Music helps me get comfort. Music adds meaning to my life. Music helps me forget about everyday reality. The second dimension is related to social effects of music. Music makes me connected to my friends. Music tells me how other people think. And the third dimension is referred to music as mood and arousal regulation. Music helps me relax. Music is a great pastime. As you can see, there is a great variability in the proposed theories with regards to music functions, and also the empirical approaches to investigate music functions. And as I said at the beginning of this video, being conscious of their answers should not make music less enigmatic, but by the contrary, I think that being conscious of the variety of these answers, we can further acknowledge its complexity. Another point worth mentioning, however, is that research in psychology is relatively new, and thus theories have yet to pass the test of time. Perhaps we are in a time of many proposed theories which will still be distilled by the historical value judge, and the ones that have the greatest empirical support will pass the test of time.